Hi, everybody. This is Preacherman from The Watchman. I am the national chaplain of the Watchmen of America, and it has fallen to me to do this month's Facebook Live. So I would like to, being a chaplain and a pastor, I would like to talk a little bit about the Constitution of the United States and a little bit about religion versus spirituality and a little bit about the difference between religion and spirituality and the Constitution and what we stand for and everything else. So let me start by saying this. The Constitution begins, the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution all starts with, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. So in just that heading, we see that there is spirituality, and we see that the creator is mentioned literally in the first few sentences. So I think that's a big deal to me. The founding fathers also thought that freedom of religion and freedom to bear arms and freedom to make our own decisions and freedom to live free were all extremely important things that needed to be held true and needed to not be compromised. And so it is impossible to separate the United States from God, from spirituality, and it is impossible to separate, if you will, church and state, because that was never what was intended by our founding fathers. Our founding fathers wanted there to be a moral compass and wanted there to be a definitive difference between what was right and what was wrong, what was good and what was bad. And granted, not everyone is good and not everyone is right and not everything that they came up with is good and right. But as an institution, the Constitution of the United States, the Bill of Rights, and everything that goes along with it as an institution is good and is right and has withstood the test of time. So what's the difference between religion and spirituality? Well, spirituality is between you and what you believe your higher power to be. I choose it to be God. Other people may choose it to be other things. I know the 12-step traditions say it can be anything that anybody wants. I personally have a problem praying to a doorknob. I don't think that works. So it has to be like something greater than yourself, I've always believed. Now, again, this is the personal rantings of Preacherman, and so take it or leave it. It's up to you. But what I would say is that religion is man-made, spirituality is relationship. Religion is rules and regulations. Spirituality is a personal relationship between you and a power greater than yourself. This country was founded on the fact that there was a power greater than ourselves. Whether that country is the power greater than ourselves, whether that constitution is the power greater than ourselves, or whether it's God, good orderly direction, whatever you feel comfortable calling it. Personally, I think that the founding fathers really knew what they were doing when they separated certain things, and they separated quote unquote church and state so that neither could rule out the other. That was the whole point of that separation, is that one couldn't get cockier than the other, or one couldn't get bigger than the other. Not that one would completely wipe out the other, which unfortunately has begun to happen in this country. So having said all of that, how do the Watchmen, each person in the Watchmen gets to believe what they want? We don't have a criteria on what you believe, except that you got to believe in the Constitution in the United States of America, and that you have to be, pro United States of America. And so what we try to do is to bring people to a place where we work together, to bring everyone to a place where the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, the amendments can be adhered to by everyone so that everyone profits. No one person should actually be able to lord it over another or rule over another, that we all need to help each other, that we all need to watch out for each other, that we all need to train each other. You know, I believe it was Adams or Franklin that said, you know, a well-trained militia keeps the government in line, because the government can't take over something that will fight back, if you will. And so ultimately, a person that has ultimate authority will usually corrupt ultimately and truly. So being able to get to a place where we're all accountable to each other and we're all looking out for each other and we're all watching each other's backs is so important, which is why we consider ourselves a community-based organization. We like to train each other. We like to hold each other accountable. We like to be there for each other. We like to joke around with each other. We like to be able to have each other's backs. We know that in community, sometimes situational awareness and awareness of circumstances, even in a church or in a city square or in a building or in a school or wherever, you know, knowing where those exits are, knowing what you have to block a door with, knowing what you have to be able to protect yourself and those around you with, being able to shoot up a prayer, being able to be wise in what you say and what you do, having the ability to understand what's happening and what you can do to save lives and save yourself is what the Watchman is all about. And we try to bring that education to all of those who want to listen. We also believe that everyone is created equal. As the Constitution says, we do not discriminate against anyone. We do not exclude anyone. It doesn't matter what race you are, what color you are, what sect you are, what denomination you are, what beliefs you have, where you come from, whether you're male or female. None of that matters. We accept everyone on a basis of who they are and what they stand for, and then go from there. It's what we as a country used to do as well. The criteria for coming into this country used to be that you had to stand for something, you had to have criteria, you had to have a sponsor, you came through Ellis Island, you got everyone that came through registered. We knew who you were, we knew where you were from, we knew what you were about, we knew what you were doing, and people here vouched for you. It's kind of the way it should be, because then you have an understanding of where people are and what they're about and where they're going to. I think personally that we have gotten away from a lot of the things that made this country great. And spirituality, having a relationship with each other, knowing who your neighbors are, knowing how you can help. It takes a village to raise a child. It takes a community to raise a town. It takes a town to raise a country. These are all things that used to be common sense. And there's another thing, common sense. We as a country have had some common sense problems lately. And unfortunately, I think it's because we've gotten away from things like the Pledge of Allegiance. We've gotten away from things like prayer in school. We've gotten away from reading the Bible. We've gotten away from believing in this country. We've gotten away from believing in each other. We've gotten away from holding each other to be of value, because we are of value, because we're supposed to walk in love. We're supposed to have dignity, honor, respect, and integrity. We're supposed to stand for something. We're supposed to have values and standards. We're supposed to be a force to be reckoned with. That's what America is known for. Well, at least it was known for that. And that's what we as Watchmen are trying to do again, is to bring standards back to this country, to bring standards back to this community, to be able to bring to communities, hey, this is who we are. This is what we stand for. This is what we believe in. If you'd like to join us, we would love to have you. come on, let's see what we can do together. Let's train each other. Let's build gardens. Let's build communities. Let's build safe zones. Let's build schools. Let's build, churches. Let's build, hell, let's build relationships. Let's get back into the business of building relationships, something that we as a country have not done over the last 8 years. Now, these last 2 years, I think we're starting again. And I'm not going to mention any names, but, I think that certain people who are in power now have a better mindset about where we need to go and what we need to do than maybe, let's say, people that were in power the last 8 years. Again, we're not a political organization. We're not a religious organization. We hopefully are a bunch of like-minded people that want to protect each other, love each other, and walk with each other through whatever happens to come about. At least that's the way I understand the Watchmen. I have been a part of this organization for a little while now, and I have been through 2 or 3 very rough situations in my life, and the Watchmen have been there for me every step of the way, as has God and has my spirituality and my beliefs in who I am and who people are around me. And I can't tell you how much I value that. This is a family, and this family sticks together, and this family holds people accountable, and yet they forgive and they watch out, and they have standards. They have dignity, honor, respect, and integrity. They have things like morals and boundaries. They know that compromise is a good word in situations and a bad word in situations. And we need to know where that line is. And again, that's another thing that I believe the Constitution, spirituality holds true, is that there's a line in the sand. This is that line. You cannot cross this line. Why? Because we won't let you. Why? Because it's not right. I mean, there is a right and a wrong, folks. I mean, I hope we all agree on that. That's kind of what spirituality and morals and boundaries and things are all about, is that there is an inherent right and wrong. And we, as watchmen, like to promote those things so that we all know we're on the same page. We all know what we think, what we feel, how we act, and what we believe in rises to a standard. And that standard is the standard of America. And that standard is the Constitution, the Bill of Rights. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. There's a point. We're pledging allegiance to that flag. And we will defend this country against foes, foreign and natural, here and there, everywhere, because we believe that there is a line in the sand. We believe that you have to stand for something or you fall for anything. And let me also put a caveat in here that says, Preacherman believes. I don't want to keep saying we because I don't want to get anyone in trouble, but I believe that these things are self-evident and that these truths are apparent. And so I have found most people that I have talked to in the Watchmen believe that same way. And so ultimately, how do we conduct ourselves? What do we stand for? What do we believe in? How do we act? When we go out, do we promote health and love and understanding and wisdom, or do we promote discord and dissension and riots and mayhem and chaos? And, we all know what we're doing here. We all know what we're talking about here. And ultimately, you have to, again, stand for something or you fall for anything. You have to have a mind of your own. You have to understand who you are and what you're doing. And we at the Watchmen have a whole bunch of protocols that says just such things. Know yourself. To thine own self be true. Know who you are. Know what you stand for. Know what's around you. Know what your resources are. Know what your goals are. Know what it means to have common sense and understanding. Know what it means to believe in something. Know what it means to pledge your allegiance to something. And that comes from spirituality. And that comes from conviction. And conviction comes from having morals and boundaries and dignity, honor, respect, integrity, hoorah. And those are, those are the morals, those are the boundaries that we hold dear in the Watchmen of America. Again, don't mean to offend anybody, and I don't mean to throw anybody off here. But what I will say is that the God, Mom, apple pie. I'm not going to go as far as to say Chevrolet, but God, Mom, apple pie, America, pledging allegiance, the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, knowing the difference between what is right and what is wrong, knowing the line in the sand, knowing that gap. We go because someone has to fill that gap. We go and we do because someone has to. Because if not me, who? If not us, guys, who? If we don't stand for something, if we don't bring freedom, if we don't bring the right to choose, if we don't bring the freedom to make your own decisions, who does? It's you got to be able to have and to hold those things that America holds dear, because it's what's made us the greatest country in the world. Do we have problems? Of course we do. Do we have situations and circumstances? Of course we do. There is no perfect on this earth. It's at least as far as I know. But what there is doing your best. And what there is standing for something. And what there is, hey, I see a fellow in trouble. I'm going to help that person. If I see somebody broke down on the side of the road, I'm going to stop and see if they need help. I may not invite them home for dinner, but I'm going to see if they need help. If I see somebody walking along the side of the road with a gas can, I may stop and ask them, hey, do you need help? Do you need a hand? Or you run out of gas? What can I do for you? These are just common decency things that seem to be kind of rare in this day and age. Now, again, I don't suggest, because of the day and age we live in, that you just randomly pick up anybody on the side of the road, especially if you're not aware of who they are. Sometimes, prudence is the better part of valor here, guys. So what I am going to say is that ultimately, each of us intrinsically, inside, we know that doing certain things is correct and doing certain things are not correct. That there are certain ways to conduct yourself and hold yourself, and there are certain ways that you do. There are certain things you should never do, and there are certain things you should always do. And these things we know inside. We don't even have to think them. We feel them. We know them. And I don't think that's an American trait. I think that's a human nature trait. In America, we like to believe that we stand for something. We like to believe that we can bring a pride back to America, that we can bring jobs and community and a commonality and a togetherness, and that we can bring greatness back to this country. And if you start to look at where things started to go wrong, I think what you start to see is that there was a direction change, that there was a shying away from dignity, honor, respect, and integrity, that there was a shying away from, morals and decency and community, that people started isolating themselves, and people stopped looking out for each other, and people stopped thinking of each other, and people stopped walking in love, and people stopped lending a helping hand or helping each other. And I think that when those things stopped, so did the pride that we hold in our hearts towards ourselves, towards our fellow brothers and sisters, towards Americans, towards God, towards liberty, towards justice, towards the American way. The whole Captain America thing. That actually sounds corny, but it actually does mean something. So I appreciate everyone letting me rant and rave, and I know this wasn't educational, but it was on my heart to say. And I hope that someone or everyone got something from this. I hope that this meant something to someone. And I hope that ultimately, if you have any questions, if you have any issues or circumstances or whatever, need anything cleared up, we do monitor this Facebook page. You can ask questions. My name is Preacherman. The Watchmen are here to be a community organization. We are here to help. Um, if anybody needs prayer or anybody needs some comforting or anything like that, you can just message me on Facebook, on the Watchman, Preacherman, and on the Watchman page here on Facebook, and I will respond. I do monitor this page daily. I do want to say that we do care and we do stand for something, and we are here to educate and to help and to work with and to be what we can be for our fellow Americans and countrymen. I would like to end with a prayer for the folks in North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, and from what I understand, I was just watching the Weather Channel before I came on, and now they're saying it's going to ride up the coast into Northeast and Pennsylvania and New York State by Tuesday. So I'm going to pray for the whole East Coast and for everybody watching. And I know that's not politically correct these days, but neither am I. So if you all would like to join me, Father God, we just thank you for this day, and we thank you for this opportunity to get together as folks who are of like mind. And we just want to pray for the people in North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, and all the way up the East Coast, that this hurricane or these string of hurricanes don't do the damage that they say, that they don't stall out, that they get in and out quickly, and that people are safe, and that there's enough help for everyone. And we just ask that you put your hand on everybody in America and everybody on the East and West Coast, the fires that are happening, and the things. There was just gas explosions in Boston, and there were just certain, there's just always things going on, Lord, and we just ask that you be with the people that are involved in those things. And we ask and specifically pray for people in the paths of these hurricanes coming in, both in Hawaii and on the East Coast. And we thank you that you are God and that you know our names and you know who we are. And we just give you all the glory. Amen. So thank you, everybody, for being with me. And thank you for putting up with my rantings. And I hope this helped someone. And if you need anything, please get a hold of me, Preacherman at Watchmen of America. And you can also, kind of hit me up on this Facebook. And God bless, and God bless America. God bless the Watchmen.